National correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, Christopher White, is part of the Crux team covering the Synod at the Vatican, and he joins us now. Christopher, the Synod already at its midway point now, but some are raising concerns that this is a done deal. The meeting's outcome has already been decided. In other words, the process is rigged. What's this about?
Well, Liz, I think it's unfair to say that the process is rigged. What these sort of rumors and accusations are getting at is the fact that the Synod has a drafting committee that will produce a final document. But as with any synod, and the church has had 28 of these to date since they were first initiated in the 1960s, there's always been a skeleton for them to start with. I've talked to synod fathers. It's impossible to think that you're going to put 8 guys in a room from all different language groups and backgrounds, and they're going to be able to produce a 150-page document without something to start with.
Right.
So I don't think it's an issue of being rigged. It's just a starting point.
Pope Francis actually introduced a new set of rules for this synod, right? One being that the meeting will no longer end with a series of recommendations. Now, in the past, those suggestions were the foundation for the Pope's final report. So why the change?
Well, I think Pope Francis actually wanted to make the process more collegial from the very beginning. So, I mean, there are recommendations being produced every single week by the various language groups. But then in the end, the final document is hopefully to be a consensus document that every bishop will themselves sign on to. They will sign their names to. So rather than submitting their recommendations to the Pope and having him make his final say, his hope is to actually get collective and full buy-in from the outset.
Christopher, Crux is reporting exclusively, I might add, that a draft of a final document already written, handed over to the Synod's drafting committee. So there are 2 big questions here. Who wrote it, and how does that impact the Synod's recommendations?
Well, the question of who wrote it is, well, we don't know exactly, but there's a permanent committee at the Vatican, a permanent Synod committee made up of bishops around the world. We have a U.S. representative, Archbishop Chaput. We have plenty of Italians, Germans, Africans. So it's a collective group. And presumably that committee is where the document, this sort of skeletal draft, originated from. In terms of what it means for the final document, I think it's fair to say it is just that, a draft. And I think we'll see certain themes that, of course, carry over. But I think we can expect the outcome document to really take on its own sort of life and be colored by the actual deliberations that have taken place the past 2 weeks.
Christopher, final word here. What's ahead? What more is left in the Synod?
Well, the bishops just today started negotiations on the sort of third final part of the working document. So we'll have another week of discussions on that. And then they will move to the finalization stage where all 3 parts are brought together into what we hope is one collective whole.
Christopher, really quickly, what's in that third part?
The third part is really talking, so we've moved from talking about the vocations and accompaniment of youth to more practical everyday concerns, and then how the church can meet young people where they are and empower them to become sort of ambassadors of Christ and messengers of the gospel.
All right, Christopher, always good to talk with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Liz.